let's talk about the one thing in parenting that none of us are immune to. Tantrums. Woo! They are one of the most frustrating, hardest parts of parenting because you can see your child is in despair. You can see that they are misbehaving, but what the heck do you do about it? I'm just spending the morning getting ready outside in this beautiful day while the kids play. You can feel one day like you are the most together mom. These kids are well behaved, and then you are hit in the most public setting, and everyone's looking at you like the hot mess mom, and you are just humbled right back down. None of us are immune. We will all face it. It's a part of their development. When our kids have a tantrum, it does not mean that we failed. It does not mean that we have not been raising them correctly. It's just part of it. But how we respond, that's the sauce that makes or breaks how our children behave in the future. Does that make sense? That's at least my theory. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just going to tell you what's worked for me. And when it's a baby and they are just devastated, they are just heartbroken because you used the wrong straw in their cup. You know, it's something so silly, but to them, it is the end of the world. It's a crisis. I like to think of it as this. We are not removing our attention as mothers, but we are removing our attention from the undesired behavior and applying it and offering it freely and willingly to the desired behavior, and of course, as emotional support, what that might actually look like in real time. Okay, so baby freaks out over something. They're on the floor, they're screaming. We're present, we're nearby, but we just ignore, and that sounds awful, but stay with me, okay? We ignore them, but we are present, and we are starting a new task. So, okay, we're freaking out because I chose the wrong plate. Now I'm on to the cutlery. We can go to the baby and say, hey, I'm sorry I see you're upset, but I'm about to pick out which fork and spoon you want. Whenever you are ready, no rush, but whenever you're ready, I'd love it if you'd help me. And we kind of step one step to the side and we start looking through and we're going, ooh, I love this one. This is such a pretty green, but this one's kind of the squishy spoon. I know you love those. Whenever you're ready, come help me pick. I promise you, that baby is popping right up and they're going to run over with a smile on their face. It is like magic. And then when they come over, you just move on with your day. They're too young to then have a sit down and talk about it and yada, yada, yada. I think if we do that consistently from the time that they're babies, they're learning that emotional regulation. It's like, mom is there. Mom is present. She's not abandoning me. But we can feel these feelings and we can move on too. And that's okay. And it's more fun to move on. And our day progresses as we move on. We are not harping on the plate that was wrong that I picked. We are not scrambling to get them the plate that they wanted. We are not holding them and forcing them to cuddle us while they just are like needing to work through their emotions. We are offering our attention. We are offering to move on with our day. We are there. So that's how I feel like it works. And I think if we're consistent with that from the time that they're babies, when they get older, they're less prone. Again, none of us are ever immune. They are less prone to those bigger, scarier tantrums later. Now, once they get to the big scaries, let's talk about that because that is a whole other beast. That is a whole other beast. And that one actually requires, in my opinion, like some real discipline because those usually involve hitting, kicking, screaming like you've never heard in your entire life. I had never truly understood the term screaming bloody murder until one day at Costco. And I'm just going to tell you about that day. My very generally well-behaved, sweet, angelic little daughter. We were getting out of the car to go to Costco one day. So she had her like little toy cell phone. She was like, Mom, can I bring my cell phone into Costco? And I was like, oh no, that's gonna stay in the car. We never bring toys ever into stores, ever. Start screaming. And of course I'm just like, oh, it'll pass, like whatever. So I'm just like, oh, you're fine. Like, let's load up. I'm just working through it. But it continues. We start rolling our way towards Costco. By the time we get to that canopy, like the big, massive canopy, legend says that the screams from my child are still heard if you listen carefully enough, echoing through the canopy of this Costco. Everyone is staring, everyone. And I have to make a decision in that moment. Like, we had never encountered something like this before, much less in public. And I said, okay, clearly we are not suited to go into a store today. We never made it into the store. We turn around, we start making it back to the car. The hitting, the kicking, the screaming, it is continuing. I stayed completely calm. I said very few words because at this point I'm not being heard. Action, focus. It took every strength in my body to overpower this child, to get her strapped into her car seat. Everyone's seriously staring at me as though I'm kidnapping this child because that's what it looks like. We start driving home. The screaming is continuing. I want to go to Costco. We need to go back to Costco. The only thing I like occasionally chimed in was, I'm sorry, we can't go to Costco behaving like this. Whatever, it's not being heard. By the time we get home, like we've started to settle a little bit, and I put the baby safely in his crib, and I pulled her into her room, and I said, hey, I'm really sorry that you're going through this. This looks really tough, and it seems like you're very distressed. I'm here for you, but I can't be here for you while you're hitting and kicking. Let me know when you're ready to talk. I left her in her room, which is fully baby-proofed and safe, and very quickly she said, I'm ready to talk. So I come in, and I sat down on the bed next to her. We took some deep breaths together, and I said, do you know why we had to leave Costco? And she said, you know, still crying, still upset, but not seeing red anymore. And she said no, and I explained to her, hey, we cannot be in a place like that when we're screaming. People are trying to shop, and they do not want to hear your screaming. We are not allowed to be there when we're behaving that way. Also, we cannot hit, and we cannot kick. We can feel frustrated, we can feel mad, we can feel disappointed. We can express those feelings, but we cannot hit people, and we cannot kick people. If your hands feel like they are going to hit, you need to choose something besides a person. And we picked out 5 things in the room that were examples of what we could hit if we had to. But we talked about what a better way was of addressing our feelings, you know, taking deep breaths, saying I'm frustrated, those types of things. And I kind of left it at that. We moved on with our day. I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, did I handle that correctly? Like, this was bad. This was bad behavior. It appeared, I'm sure, to everyone in this parking lot, like I was doing nothing, just allowing this behavior because I was like freakishly calm. And I was like, did I do enough? Should I have like disciplined more? What was I couldn't physically stop it from happening. So what is the right thing to do? But I will tell you this, next day I was like, we got to get back on this horse. We can't let this become like this huge thing, you know? So I was like, okay, when Brother wakes up from nap, we're going to go to Costco. And without me saying another word, she looks at me and she goes, no hitting at Costco. No kicking at Costco. No yelling at Costco. And I said, I could cry. I was like, she got it. She got it. She got it. That's all we can hope for. All that to say, when our kids are like in that mode of seeing red, I don't think there's a magic cure to stop it in that moment once we've gotten there. But how we respond can really inform how they know how to respond moving forward. And it doesn't mean it's never gonna happen again because their little bodies are not prepared to have full emotional regulation yet, but we can help them to get there. And I think by staying calm ourselves, externally, of course we're not feeling it internally, but externally trying to stay calm ourselves, focusing on action that we're going to take, which is going to a location where it's more acceptable to express these emotions and it's safe to express these emotions. And then once they've calmed down, talking about it and then moving forward. These techniques are designed to acknowledge the feelings, support the feelings, teach them to move through those feelings effectively. This is key. We are not teaching them that the solution to those feelings is an external factor of getting what they want. It's not about getting what they want. They're not going to get what they want. The result of this temper tantrum is not going to be giving into it. I would say starting at 2. When they are starting to get upset about something, before they are seeing red, you can do a process which has bypassed so many temper tantrums for us. When you see them start to escalate, you take 4 steps. And step number 1 is name their emotion. Step number 2 is empathize with their emotion. Step number 3 is explain briefly why they're not getting what they want. And step number 4 is offer them something that you can. Let's just say your child's not wanting to get in their car seat and they start like fighting you. It's, hey, are you not wanting to get in your car seat? I understand it's not always the most comfortable, but listen, we are going to get in our car seat because it's safe. When we get home, would you like for me to take you out? They either say yes. At this point, you divert. So amazing, when we get home, I can't wait to take you out. What are we gonna play first? Are we gonna do your blocks? Or are we gonna do your stacking toys? I don't know. If they're still kind of upset and you're like, do you want me to take you out when we get home? And they're like, no. Then you say, okay, no worries. That is a while from now. We will deal with that when we get home. Again, divert. So when we get home, what do you want to do? And at this point, you are getting back in the car. You are starting to drive home. Like, we are moving on. We're trying to make space between whatever this thing is. And those are 4 steps that with a little bit of practice, you can apply to literally any situation. It'll become second nature. In a lot of situations, like doing that will bypass a tantrum altogether.